To begin with, maybe if I might, I'll start with the question itself. It's a conversation, but perhaps Sadhguru can look at this issue. An issue which is concerning me and I'm sure many of us. The growing desecularization of Indian society, by which I mean the growing presence of religiosity in the public sphere. As I say this, I'm aware that Sadhguru, I've read the book, Inner Engineering, makes a very fine distinction. He himself is critical of blind religious practice, just as I think he's also critical of blind science. He draws an equidistance between the two, and I think his realm is that of spirituality and inner development, which is what inner fulfillment, which is what inner engineering. He'll speak about that. But my question to kick off this discussion is this a cause for concern because it seems to sabotage the long-held value of secularism in our country, in our constitution, the growing presence of religiosity in the public sphere, where religion should be a private affair, it's become a public affair, the growing market paradigm of religion and religious gurus and yogis, this whole God-mongering, and the way privatized. Religion is not privatized. Religion should be public. Everything else is privatized around us, and religion seems to be coming to the forefront in the public realm. And therefore the question is the threat to Indian secularism, the deviation from our constitutional assurance, the growing division of fractions that it's creating in society, and therefore the growing communalization both of the right and of the other varieties that we are seeing.
I don't think India is any more religious than it was in the past. It is just that I think the media is beginning to come to terms with reality. People have lived with their ideas for too long, not with the reality of human existence. Religion is not a new thing on this planet. It is just that in what form does it find expression? Let's look at it this way. Religion is an outcome of human longing to touch something beyond themselves, to touch a dimension which is not physical in nature. This human longing cannot be put down because of fancy ideals and ethics and whatever else they make up. People, when they are poor, you can propagate these kind of things as if survival and utilitarian aspects of life are everything. But once they do well, it won't mean anything to them, they will naturally look for something. In what form they look at it? Is it dogmatic? Is it a genuine search? That is the only question. We must understand this. First of all, India is a godless land, has been for thousands of years. We have always been a land of seekers, never a land of believers. It's only now, because of various influences, we are becoming this way, that everybody wants to believe something. Let me tell you what I mean by this. See, when you believe something, you have made some authority into the truth. When you seek, truth is the only authority for you. This has always been the fundamental ethos of this nation. You can believe something, you can disbelieve something, but still, you can still be a seeker. This is a land which never believed, even when so-called entities that we considered divine appeared. None of them could ever give us a commandment. We only had a debate. When Shiva came, his wife had a long debate with him. When Krishna came, Arjuna had a very long debate with him, questions and questions and questions, because this is the nature of the human mind. Denying that and believing something that a certain authority has expressed or seems to have expressed is a new phenomena in this country, and you're seeing that in many different ways. About thinking that suddenly India is no more secular, I think it is only a figment of a certain segment of the media which goes on this. We don't know what is the intent behind it. India is as secular as it can be. Just see all the people sitting here, they all believe different things and they're all sitting together, no issue, nobody is going to stab anybody here. And this is a land where for thousands of years, in the same house, if there are 5 people, they're worshipping 5 different gods in the same family. And there never was a conflict because this is a land where we have always known that God is our making. This is something that most other cultures have forgotten, that God is our making. Because we do not know the nature of creation, because we are quite clueless about where this cosmos begins and where it ends and how it happens, we are looking for a source. A very simplistic thing would be, because we are human, we think a big man is sitting up there and doing it. This is a very simplistic approach. But this is a nation offered every kind of possibility, and above all the deities that you see in this country were never seen as gods, they were seen as devas, that means they're exalted human beings. All the people, the iconic people worshipped in this country, whether you take Rama, Shiva, Krishna, these are all men who walked this geography. They did not land from somewhere. They walked this geography, they lived human lives, they had their own children, they had the entire works, families and kingdoms to rule and many things. They had their share of problems. Only reason why they are worshipped is, no matter what kind of hardship came to them, they remained unmoved. Something within them did not succumb to the external challenges that they faced. That is the only quality that is being worshipped, and it should be worshipped. Because what life throws at us is not our choice. What we make out of it is our choice.
Thank you. I must, in spite of the ovation, say that to be popular may not be always to be right. Romanticizing religion the way you have done goes against the grain of the facts on the ground. The fact of the matter is, religion, both in this country and elsewhere in the world, has been responsible for far more deaths than any other activity of human being has been.
Definitely, I'm not disagreeing with that.
The fact is…
No, you're not making the distinction between seeking and believing.
No, we'll come to that. Let me say my piece.
You cannot come to that later. You have to look at it now because…
No, I will choose to… I will choose to tackle it when I choose to tackle it.
I want to tackle it now.
I'm not a follower. I'm here as a debate.
All right.
We are in a conversation.
You have asked me a question, let me complete it.
I have not asked you a question.
You already asked.
No, I have not asked you a question. I've said, I made a statement that religion has been responsible for far more deaths than any other human activity. I'm also saying that you are happily confusing myth and history and talking about Rama and Krishna walking the earth. Now, it's debatable whether this is history or myth. Shiva having a conversation with his wife and somebody having a conversation with somebody. You can't confuse history and myth and wade into all of this and run a logical argument. I know you are not for logic. At least you don't think logic is the end all of all discussion, at least from the book, which I respect that point of view. Science is not the end. It is for science to discover the beginning of the cosmos and the end of the cosmos. Science is in a process of seeking, of becoming. Religion has become, unfortunately, a certitude, a terrible certitude, which is creating more division, more fraction, more, I think, dishonesty in life, all around us. And that's become even more so in the current age. That's what I started out by saying. We are in an age of godmen. We are in an age of so-called, new age gurus, market gurus. Branding is a symptom. Look at all the branding of all the gurus that are going on. It's ridiculously ostentatious and market friendly. So I'm sorry, but I
No,
hope you don't get offended.
You are giving your opinion about everybody in the universe without knowing a thing about them.
Yeah, but that's not your monopoly. But Guruji, that is not your monopoly.
I'm not here to pass a judgment on you or anybody else.
No, because you said that about me. I'm saying.
But you're saying these are market forces, these are godmen. Whoever in this country called himself a god man, only the goddamn journalists are doing this all the time.
Sure. I am not exempting my persona as a journalist does not prevent me.
Have you seen one person who said, I'm a god man?
Of course you are saying that. In your book you are saying that.
What I'm saying?
You are saying, I will do this, I have magic, I create all these things, I touched and created vibrations, I created power there. You are talking like a magician.
I think
towards the last pages of you, please reread your book.
I think you need to little educate yourself about English language then.
How did I make a mistake?
You're making up things.
Sorry?
See, please, you're making up things. If you do not understand the way the book is written, you will need 10 readings to get it.
No, I don't intend reading it more than once, but I have read it once.
If this is the conclusion you made, obviously you didn't get it.
No, towards the end of the book, you are talking about the need for more and more temples. You are talking about how you created vibrations in one temple in the US and made it, godly in that sense. You're not using. But that's even more dangerous in my view. Somebody who calls himself a god man can be dismissed offhand.
Okay.
But while you raise very, very interesting discussions on the need for limits to logic, the need for limits to science, towards the end you are lapsing into total blind leap of faith. In the beginning of the book you start by saying, don't take anything at face value, question everything, interrogate everything, Guruji. You say that in the beginning of the book. You say, don't take even what I'm saying at face value. Towards the end you say, if you don't have a leap of faith, a leap of trust, I cannot guide you in the garden of wilderness. So, it is a book of self-contradiction in that sense.
All right. Abhi, can I have
Please,
a few minutes?
Please.
Let's understand this. When human beings were just walking on the ground, if a first man came on a bicycle, most people wouldn't believe it. They would think it is something absurd or illogical or magical. It would take a lot of convincing before people who are stuck in their own logic understand there is a way to ride on two wheels. I'm not even talking about an airplane, I'm talking about a bicycle. So all those people who denied the bicycle, at that moment, they all thought they were logically correct, like you.
I don't understand it, but please carry on.
Yes, I understand, a lot of things are not understood.
Yes. Unless they're understood, they're not understood.
Because the way you're going at it whatever this leap of faith business you're talking about, there is no question of faith here. We are talking about a dimension beyond your present level of perception and understanding. Any human being who thinks what I do not know cannot exist is wearing the crown of ignorance. The most fundamental aspect of human intelligence, if it has to flower, is to constantly be able to see things that you do not know, things that you do not perceive exist all the time. This has been the exploration of science, this has been the exploration of every spiritual being. If you do not understand the difference between crude logic which binds you down and a logic which evolves you into a different dimension of existence, that is what we're trying to change. That is what we're trying to touch people with, that they do not have to limit themselves to their present dimension of logic and intelligence. There is a way to transcend this, there is a way to touch other dimensions of life. You thinking anything that you don't understand cannot exist is…
Well, now that you have told me what I'm thinking, let me say what I think. what I think is not exactly what you are saying I'm thinking.
No, from what you said, otherwise I'm not delving
So
into your
there's an
mind.
understanding problem there as well. Let me explain what I meant, or what I think many people here also know what I meant. The simple fact is, science is never a certitude. Theory of science is always based on falsifiability. Falsifiability is the basis of science. Religion and spirituality, may not be spirituality so much, religion
You better
certainly.
make the distinction. You must make the distinction.
Yes, I'm making the distinction. I am suggesting that you do make the distinction in some parts of what you're writing, but you tend to oversee the distinction, and that, to me, becomes very dangerous, particularly in the times that we live in, because the dominance of religion in public affairs, in the public sphere, is creating more divisions than unity. That's very obvious before us, the kind of tensions that we in society. I don't think it is true that this was always the case. I think it's become more acute, at least in my lifetime of the last 30, 40 years. I can see there's been a progression for the worse. So either I'm seeing it with jaundiced eyes, deliberately, perversely, I don't see why I should do that, or there is a real problem there.
See, people have always been religious, all right? But religion as it was propagated here was never an absolute. There's never only a debate. But for every kind of mind, for every kind of intellect, there is an option to choose. It is very unrealistic to expect everybody to have a certain type of intellect. It will not work. So for every type of person, there are different kinds of forms and formats to pursue. And very clearly, very clearly, in every village, they have a different god or a goddess. What is it that should people write it on their forehead that we made it up? They're telling you, this is our goddess, this is only for our village. This means what? They made it and they revere it because they need some point to hold their emotion and to look up to something. And this is not an unknown thing. And they don't have any problem going elsewhere and elsewhere. So that type of religion has been there, but first of all we must understand this. This has been a land of seeking. Maybe confused and colorful kind of seeking, because this is how human beings are. Making and putting a label on all of them is a wrong way to look at human beings, because human beings are in different state of evolution. You have to respect where they are and see how to take them to the next place. The last part of the book which is bothering you is to take you to the next place.
I absolutely agree with you that in the villages of India, people believe, they see the religion as a way of life, they live it organically. The problem is that we have now a set of New Age gurus. I'm not… actually, I'm not…
No, put
you're
me
not
in
part
that,
of
it's
that.
okay,
You're not
I
part
will
of that.
handle
No,
that.
no, I want to say that I don't see you as part of that. If I saw you as part of that, I would not have agreed to this conversation.
Why?
Honestly. Because I have contempt for the others, I don't have contempt for you. That's why. But let me also say, in the same breath, that while in the villages of India, they live their lives, religion is a way of life, none of these New Age gurus really is addressing that vast hinterland of India. They are all caught up in this whole marketized India. That is their constituency, that is their target, that is a branding arena. And if you look at the language that is used, including Sadhguruji, your own book, maybe you're addressing that particular target. The examples are all about middle class, upper middle class, consumerist class.
Because I'm speaking in English language.
Yes, and you're addressing that…
When I speak in Tamil, I speak a different language. I'm speaking English language, the book was published in United States,
Yeah.
Obviously I'm talking to a certain audience.
Yeah. No, I have heard you in Tamil and I don't think there is an understanding of the rural Indian who is very commonsensical, who decides what role religion will play in his life, will not be led by the nose, and he is the one who changes governments in this country. Even if you stand on a religious platform, he votes for you or against you, depending on how well you perform. Therefore, the leading question is, do you at all believe that secularism should be the bedrock of the Indian Constitution?
It depends how you define that word. If it is about every human being or every citizen having the freedom to pursue what they want, That's secularism for me. Secularism does not mean everybody should become antiseptic and they must do whatever a few intellectuals are talking about, okay? They're substantially confused. So, about connecting to the rural people, you must understand 70% of my work is in rural India. And if I did not connect to them, if I did not understand them, if they did not connect to me, it wouldn't be such a movement in Tamil Nadu and elsewhere. So, just making this kind of statements won't help. Let us look at it specific instead of making general stuff. Your concern right now is from what I see is, right now the concern seems to be the present central government. They seem to be
It is a concern
Yes.
as well.
Yes, it's fine. But what I want to tell you is, of all the people on the planet, when I was in United States just after the election, I spoke for Trump. People said, Sadhguru, you? I said, see, this is it. You don't seem to understand. You're enjoying democracy. You don't seem to understand. Never before in the history of humanity, change of power ever happened without bloodshed. Never. Even within a family, I'm telling you. Change of power happens with some bleeding. For the first time, because of a democratic process, we are able to change power one hand to another without bloodshed. Do not underestimate the value of that. Once people elect somebody, just bow down to that person for the next 4 or 5 years, whatever the term, do everything possible. Yes, you can set up watchdogs to watch what they're doing, what they're not doing, but on the first day he's elected, people say he must be fired. What is this? Do you know what will happen? If you change power and then because somebody that you do not like got elected, you want to pull him down the next day, this will lead to war, tribal war, once again back to many centuries ago. So let's understand this. If we value democracy, once people elect somebody, bow down to that because we understand if we destroy this system, as there are 1,000 loopholes in democratic process, but if you destroy the system, what we will get is way worse than this. So I don't have a problem with any government. Here there's a communist government, I'll bow down to it. There's a BJP government, I'll bow down to it. In Tamil Nadu we have another kind of government, I'll bow down to it because this is people's will. This is not my fancy. Now, people who think that whatever, their opinions are bigger than people's will, just now you acknowledge the people of this country, however simple they are, they have the common sense to elect the right person, but at the same time you don't value the person who's been elected or the party that's been elected. What does it mean?
It means I'm in a minority which doesn't agree with the majority.
That is
That's
fine.
very simple, and that is the essence of democracy.
That is fine.
Democracy is not democracy unless it is defined by
cannot-
minority, not by
You can always
majoritarianism.
disagree. You can always
Majoritarianism is
disagree.
not democracy. The fact of minorities being able to state what they want, whether they're religious minorities, intellectual minorities, whatever minorities.
No,
That is the essence
disagreement
of
is
democracy.
different.
So
Disagreement
Donald
is
Trump
different.
may be elected in the United States. There are a whole lot of people think that's disastrous. That doesn't mean they are going to start an armed revolution there. You're jumping to conclusion. Nobody is talking about any armed
No,
revolution
they're all on
there.
the streets.
They're on the streets. So were people on the streets in Jallikattu, and I saw you defending that eloquently on TV.
Yes,
I saw you defending the mayhem that went on the Marina Beach eloquently on TV. So you have one standard here, another standard there.
What is one standard here? What is
You
it?
said that's fine, people must be on the street.
No, please understand. Protesting a particular aspect or a issue is one thing. Everybody has the right to do it. But just protesting the results of the election, you're crazy in your head.
No, they are protesting
They
the
are
values that this
No,
man
no,
stands
no.
for.
See, first people have elected him.
Yeah, they have
You are
elected him.
protesting the
And he will
result
be
of an
president.
election.
He is
What
the
does it
president.
mean?
So
If
you're
you protest the result of an election, that means you're saying you don't want democracy unless you win. You're just a bad loser.
This is populism. There's a difference between democracy and populism. What you are saying, Guruji, with due respect, is populism. The biggest achievements in art, science, math, philosophy, as you know better than I do, were achieved against the grain of the popular. When people said the earth was flat, everyone said the earth was flat, scientists said no, it is not. People who said that were burnt at the stake. When people said the sun goes round the earth, somebody said no, the earth goes round the sun. Those who said that were burnt at the stake.
No, you're not listening to me.
After the Copernican revolution, people realized science, it takes science to prove all that. You know, you can't justify it if people say the earth is flat, let the earth be flat. Maya will not achieve that, you know.
No, oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh. I see you have been schooled in all the wrong schools.
No. I am happy that I've been schooled in the right schools and I'm thinking
No, if
right
Maya is… I
person.
never uttered the word Maya, you are uttering the word Maya.
Yeah. The right to interpret Maya is not yours.
Now let me finish this. See, you protesting an issue is your right. But you protesting the results of an election means you are a bad loser and you're against the democratic process. What do you understand from this?
No.
If you win the election,
No.
I will protest.
No.
If I win, I celebrate. What is this?
When people elect Hitler to power, communists in Germany protested, many of them died. Hundreds of thousands of Jews were killed in the gas chambers. You should not protest. You should not protest fascism just because it's elected. What kind of theory is this?
Okay, then let's dismantle democracy and…
No, you don't dismantle
You are the
democracy.
only winner,
You
anybody
protest.
else wins, it can't
You protest, you have the right to protest, you have the right to write, you have the right to say it's wrong. You are in a minority until you are in a majority, you see.
No, you can protest in terms of saying something, writing something, whatever.
That's all.
You can't say, pull him down tomorrow morning.
Who said to pull him down tomorrow
People are
morning?
saying on the television, he must be fired tomorrow.
No, that is some extremist fringe group. There are lunatic fringe groups everywhere, there must be some. But the women who turned out in large numbers in all capitals of the world, the largest ever street demonstration in the history of the globe, that's for nothing. I hope you won't say like Donald Trump that these are all cooked up figures, because he believes in post-truth.
No,
You know?
see, this is what I am saying is, he is the last man that I would support. But I bow down to the principle of democracy because I know the consequence of challenging that.
Certainly. I mean, on that there is no quarrel. I don't think we are saying we should not respect
I have
democratic
no quarrel on
verdict.
anything.
So on that there is certainly no quarrel. It is just that
you have a set idea about things. Let me talk to you about this. You said the new age gurus. That means they're of this age. I want everybody, whether you're a journalist or a politician or a religious person or a scientist, I want you to be contemporary, new age. I don't want you ancient people living here. Ancient people should be dead and buried. So if they are new age, I'm happy. I don't want ancient gurus here, because one has to be relevant to the times, otherwise what's the point? If they behave like ancient people, you will say they're archaic. If they respond to the modern society, you will say they are new age gurus. What are they supposed to do?
No, that's not what I meant by New Age gurus. What you mean, what everyone understands by New Age gurus is this post-marketization, market-branded, corporatized gurus. That's what I mean by New Age gurus.
That means they're successful and you don't like it.
They are financially hugely successful, they have big empires, and they sow distrust and they sow confusion among the people, generally.
See, let the people decide whether they're getting confused or they're getting clarity. Why do you decide that?
I'm not deciding that, I'm giving you my view of it.
You are saying they're spreading confusion and this, that. If that is so, they wouldn't come?
No, people go…
See, this is coming from an ivory tower, an intellect which assumes it is sitting on top of a tower, everybody else is stupid and dumb, they are being confused but they're still flocking to that place. No.
It's easier for you to just call me a fool instead of going round and round circles.
I will.
But you know, that doesn't deter me, unfortunately.
I am not here to abuse anybody, please. But why are we abusing common people? At one level you say you cannot underestimate their intelligence, but here you are saying they're all fools, they will go to a place where they're being confused and misled and whatever. Maybe there is some value to it that you don't see.
We have had religion and politics in this country from… Gandhi is the greatest example. Gandhi is a great man who held politics and he wove religion into it. He spoke about Ramarajya. There were critics who criticized Gandhi. I'm not one of those. I think Gandhi was an exemplary kind of leader of these people. He had the masses with him. He defied the masses. very often. When the masses were out on the street, he said nothing doing. He went on fast. When India was attaining independence, he was on fast. I mean, I don't have to narrate all this history.
See, I am
But
not
this
the
is not-
one to…
This is very different. What you are seeing here is a kind of insular, sectarian, majoritarian, fascistic almost propagation of
Where are
religion.
you seeing these people?
Every day, all around us.
Where? I don't see them. Where do you see them?
You must open your eyes, you'll see them. The
My
problem
eyes
with
are very,
sadhana
very
is if you're closing your eyes, you might be able to see them, you know.
No, see, the thing is, we have assumed things about people. Instead of assuming things, why don't we meet the common people who gather there? What is it that they're getting from that assembly? Something of some value must be happening to them. They're not going on a spree. The thing is, oh, they built empires. Where is the empire? Are there palaces built? No. Empires built, boundaries set up? No. They're breaking all barriers. They're having access to the entire world in one way or the other. Now, the thing is, if you spread, you will say you're building an empire. If you don't, you will say you are no good, all right? So I am telling you this, let's look at it this way. I am the last one to support all the spurious nonsense that happens in the name of religion, okay? Let me make this clear. But at the same time, taking a general judgment on everybody and saying, this is it, all of them are spurious, all of them are misleading people, no. Many of them, I'll tell you one thing. About 7 years ago, I was in the United States and somebody told me, Sadhguru, every day about 100,000 people are typing out the word spiritual on the net. Then I said, okay, type it out and see what comes. They typed out the word spiritual. The first thing that comes is a spa in Mexico. The next thing that comes out is a call girl in Northern California. When I saw this, I said, what's happening? India has been the gateway for spirituality forever. Everybody looked east for thousands of years. What has happened to us? Let us do something. So I thought, I had never met any spiritual leader till that moment, 7 years ago. I had never stayed stage with anybody, I've never been to any ashrams, I've largely not visited most of the temples in the country. But I decided I will put them together. I made hundreds of phone calls and a few ashrams and places I visited for the first time. I did find many of them were completely innocent of integrity. It was an eye-opener for me, I never thought people could be like this. But at the same time, I found many people who were doing a fabulous work among people, very quietly, without any publicity, very gently. In their areas, they're doing wonderful job. So I met both kinds of people and I tried to put them together on one platform saying, this is not like you have to believe in this or that. You can believe, disbelieve, whatever. Just everybody who is working for the spiritual well-being of Indian citizens come together and offer this to the world on a portal where people can choose. If you say spirituality, India should come up first, then let them choose where they want to go. For whatever reasons, some people had reservations and stuff. Some religious groups came and, from death threats to all kinds of threats happened. Then I saw, if you're not interested, what's my problem? I have no such problem. I said, okay, leave it there. But why I'm telling you this is, there are all kinds of people in every trade and in every sphere of life. There are very corrupt doctors, but there are many wonderful ones every day saving thousands of lives. There are wonderful journalists and there are horrible corrupt journalists. There are wonderful policemen and officers, there are very corrupt ones. There are wonderful politicians and very corrupt ones. Similarly, spiritual realm also has its share of everything.
Thank you. I'm glad you said there are some wonderful journalists. That's very
I
heartening.
didn't put you in that.
No, I did ask to be put in that. But what you are saying underlines or reinforces what I at least meant to say in the beginning, that religion should be a private affair. It should be a personal affair. It should not be part of the public sphere. The moment religion becomes part of the public sphere, it becomes identity politics, as we have seen happening in this country. It becomes mobilizing people on the basis of religion. It becomes factionalism, it becomes majoritarianism and minoritarianism.
No question about
it becomes
that.
extremism of the Hindutva variety and extremism of the Islamic fundamentalist variety and all other kinds of extremisms. We have not had it so acutely bad until the recent post-liberalization phase. And that has coincided with the rise of what I call the New Age gurus and this whole religiosity in the public sphere. That can't be a sheer coincidence.
I would say, knowing at least a few people and the nature of their work, if the many gurus who are in the country were not there, there would be blood on the street.
Or because they are there, there is blood on the street.
No. Because if they were not there would be blood on the street.
There has been blood on the street.
There has… I am not saying there hasn't been. You need to understand this. For 1,000 years we've been an occupied nation in many different forms, and there has been violence on the basis of religion, there has been force. So these things are happening, unfortunate things, but they're happening. But in reality, they are
When, in your opinion, did that occupation begin?
No.
It's an important question. When did you think we became an occupied nation?
Huh?
When did you think, at what point in history did we become an occupied nation? In your scheme of history.
I know what you're driving at. We become occupied when something is taken by force. A natural meeting and mingling of cultures and things changing is different. But when things happen by force, that's called an occupation in definition. But I'm telling you, not just in India, everywhere in the world, religious violence is much lower today than ever before. If you look back 3 centuries ago, what was happening and what's happening today, it is way little. It is just because of 24/7 media channels. If 10 people die in one corner of the country, the blood spills into our sitting rooms and bedrooms and everywhere. But 1,000 years ago, if 1,000 people died in another part of the country, we would sit here watching peacefully the sunset, not being bothered about what's happening there because we wouldn't know anyway. We would never know probably, maybe we would know after a year. So the thing is, because of communication, it looks like a lot is happening, but let's acknowledge this. For the first time, I am telling you, 21st century, for the first time, we as human beings are a lot more peaceful than any other century in the last 20-25 centuries.
I think we were until a decade or two back. You see, you can't compare what we are doing now with 300 years and 1,000 years.
Okay.
There has been progress, there's been modernism, there has been science.
In the last decade, you think there's much more
civilizations
violence?
hopefully evolve, they don't regress. But now it looks like we are regressing. How can you compare?
In the last decade, let's take last decade.
Yeah.
Since 1950 till 2000, how many of these communal and religious clashes have happened? And how many have happened since then, if you look at it, it is way less. All the numbers and statistics will tell you this.
Well, 2002 wasn't exactly a peaceful time,
It is
particularly
not.
in
See,
Gujarat.
nobody is trying to give credibility to those events. These are horrible events. But you must understand this. We are addressing these issues only when it spills on the street. We must see this, the moment you hold something, the moment you hold something that only you can be right, I am wrong, it's only a question of time before we clash, okay? My way is the only way. If you hold this belief, when it is going to spill on the street, when blood is going to spill, is only a question of time. So we need to bring that down. You can do what the hell you want, I will do what the hell I want. I don't have to call you names, which I don't. You should not call me names.
I certainly won't.
Because you may think you're doing very useful. I also know that I am doing something very, very useful. And there are millions of people who will acknowledge that it is super useful for them. If you think it's trash, it's unfortunate. Because to receive and to digest certain dimensions of life, you need a certain level of receptivity. You must understand this. Going at everything intellectually is a very poor way of going at life, because intellect is a knife. Tell me, would you choose to have a sharp intellect or a blunt one? What is your choice?
Sorry? A sharp
If you-
intellect,
sharp,
certainly, yeah.
you would like a sharp one. So it's like a knife. Whatever you give the intellect, it will make a dissection of it and look at it. So if I really want to know you, should I dissect you?
Mentally, yes, perhaps. I mean, if that's the way you will know me. I think it varies. I don't think everybody knows everyone else the same way. There's no
I'm telling you,
single
there is
methodology.
another way of knowing life. By sheer embrace, you can know life. You
Certainly.
don't have to dissect it.
Certainly, yeah.
So if you go at everything as a dissection, if I dissect you, I will know you have two kidneys and liver and whatever else, but I will not know you. To know you, it needs inclusion. So if you go intellectually, knowingly or unknowingly, you keep on dissecting everything. This is like you want to stitch something, but all you'll have is tatters. This is what the so-called intellectuals are doing, getting the world into tatters and they're thinking they're doing something fantastic.
No, I think having a zombie-like peace, having a zombie-like fatalism…
Do I look
No,
zombie-like?
no, not at all. I'm saying having a zombie-like fatalism, which has been the curse of India for a long time. We are a
No.
fatalistic people. That you should not question certain things.
Let me correct that. Can I correct that?
Huh.
This is the only land, please listen to me again. This is the only land on the planet where we have been told for thousands of years that your life is your karma, which means your life is your making. That
Yes.
means nobody up there managing you.
Absolutely. You say that in your book. You say man should be the master of his destiny, not in as many words, that when if you take hold of your destiny, destiny takes charge. You say that, I think. But the point is, in what you subsequently roll out, it doesn't give me charge of my life. It's too prescriptive, it is too fatalistic, it leaves me no choice but to belong to a particular creed and a particular belief system. That's the problem.
Belief and spirituality cannot exist together, because the fundamental of belief is you assume things that you do not know. The fundamental of seeking is you have admitted that you do not know. I do not know is a tremendous possibility. If you deny this, is it because of your exaggerated belief or your intellect? Both ways, people deny this. They deny that they do not know, that I do not know is being denied. If you deny this, all possibilities of knowing are also lost with it. Because fundamentals of spirituality comes from this, that you know the pain of ignorance. That is why you have become a seeker, not because you want to get a certificate, not because you want to earn a PhD, because you have realized the pain of ignorance.
But seeking, Guruji, need not happen only in the realm of religion or spirituality. A poet seeks, an artist seeks, a writer seeks, a scientist seeks. They are all seeking. They are all seeking to understand the world or understand their own lives or make meaning of the world. This is what they are all doing. When a poet writes, he is seeking. Poetry, as Plato famously said, comes closer to vital truth than even history. You can write reams and reams of history and yet the truth can elude you. In a short haiku poem, you'll probably glimpse a sense of the
you're
truth.
going to haiku?
No, I'm using haiku as an example.
I want you to understand, haiku is written by very spiritual group of people.
No, there are non-spiritual, there are people who write haiku, purely, there is romantic haiku, there is emotional haiku, there are spiritual haiku. I don't think
Let
the
us not
Confucian
label seeking as this and that kind of seeking. The seeking is just this.
Yeah.
The seeking in a human being is just this. Because the nature of being human is that, no matter who you are, what you are, you want to be something more than what you are right now. If you know money, you will think only money. If you know wealth, you'll think only wealth. If you know knowledge, you will think knowledge. If you know love, you will think love. If you know pleasure, you will think pleasure. Whatever may be your currency, fundamental thing of the human being is, whoever you are right now, you want to be something more than that. Now, when somebody realizes more is not going to settle me, why seeking is for an infinite length.
Yes.
When you're seeking infinite, if you seek in installments, it is a hopeless way of seeking. When you realize this, you turn spiritual.
No, the realm of scientific seeking is not in one lifetime, it's over several lifetimes. I mean,
You believe in lifetimes.
I do. I believe in my lifetime, and my lifetime ends. I mean, I may not believe in rebirth. I may not believe in. I don't probably. I have not thought about.
Oh, you mean generations?
Yeah, I'm saying in each person's lifetime. So, anyway, what I'm trying to suggest is you don't have to corral everything into the realm of religion. Certainly not religion, and perhaps not even spirituality, because spirituality is something people, realize. Sometimes they can be helped. Sometimes they have different ways of acquiring their own spirituality. And we don't need a branded gurudom to ascertain and give it the
What is
ISI
this
mark.
branded gurudom? I would like to know. Am I branded well?
No, you're as I said,
Why are you saying this? I thought I'm branded very well.
you're branded quite well. You're not done badly at all. But I'm not meaning you at all when I say this. So there is a larger end. Anyway, I think we'll have to close this part of the conversation here because we are at 7 o'clock, and now Manju Warrior will be speaking to, I think, about the inner engineering, the book. I want to conclude by saying that I have perhaps raised things in a rather brash and acute manner. That is, of course, also to bring out what Sadhguru, I mean, he's capable of handling this. When I've seen him on television, when I've seen him in debating situations, in discourses. But I'm happy that we are able to have such a discussion on religion and spirituality today. I hope this will be the case 10 years from now. That the moment you say anything critical of religion, we won't be banned or asked to go to some other country. Number one. I'd like to conclude, since it's a lit fest, by saying, from my part, and then I'll leave it to the two of you, when Ayatollah Khomeini issued a fatwa against Salman Rushdie for satanic verses, V.S. Naipaul, I think, came up with the apt description. He said, that's an extreme form of literary criticism. I think we can take solace in that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.